Exposition of the Holy Quran. By G. A. Parwez, Sura 2. Verse 201 to 250.
ومنهم من يقول ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار أولئك لهم نصيب مما كسبوا والله سريع الحساب.
201 to 202. You will find two kinds of people in the world. The first kind's sole aim of life is to find prosperity in this world, and they do not think about the hereafter. The other kind, however, yearn not only for bliss in this world but also to be protected from disaster in the hereafter. Both kinds shall have what they have worked for. According to Allah's law of mukafat, each human action produces its results simultaneously, although the latter may not be perceptible for some time.
واذكروا الله في أيام معدودات فمن تعجل في يومين فلا إثم عليه ومن تأخر فلا إثم عليه لمن اتقى واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم إليه تحشرون.
203. The Hajj assembly should be for a prescribed number of days. If anyone has to depart due to some special reason, he may do so after 2 days, and if anyone wishes to stay longer he may do so, provided what is done is in the interest of the divine system. And remember that one day you shall all be gathered unto him.
ومن الناس من يعجبك قوله في الحياة الدنيا ويشهد الله على ما في قلبه وهو ألد الخصام.
204. Again you will find two kinds of people in the world.
The sole objective of life for the first kind is to seek worldly gains. They speak of worldly affairs so persuasively that one is fascinated by their talk. They repeatedly swear by Allah in order to authenticate what they say, though their hearts are full of enmity towards the divine system.
وَإِذَا تَوَلَّى سَعَى فِي الْأَرْضِ لِيُفْسِدَ فِيهَا وَيُهْلِكَ الْحَرْثَ وَالنَّسْلَ وَاللَّهُ لَا يُحِبُّ الْفَسَادَ.
205. When these people gain power, they spread chaos in the land, destroying fields and human beings. Allah does not like what they do. 27. 34.
وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُ اتَّقِ اللَّهَ أَخَذَتْهُ الْعِزَّةُ بِالْإِثْمِ فَحَسْبُهُ جَهَنَّمُ وَلَبِئْسَ الْمِهَادُ.
206. When they are asked to abide by the divine laws, their power, intoxication and false pride impels them towards greater destruction. Their end is utter ruin.
27. 14.
وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ رَءُوفٌ بِالْعِبَادِ.
207. The second kind dedicate themselves to accomplishing Allah's purpose and gladly make whatever sacrifice is necessary to attain that goal. These are the persons who have the support of Allah's laws.
يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين.
208. O Jamaat al-Mu'mineen, you should adopt Allah's system in its entirety and also continue your struggle until it is accomplished fully. 285. Do not follow in the footsteps of Shaitan, for he is your avowed enemy.
فإن زللتم من بعد ما جاءتكم البينات فاعلموا أن الله عزيز حكيم.
209 We have given you the code of life in clear terms.
If after having received it, your steps falter from the right path, do not think that you will not be held accountable for your actions. Like others, you will also be judged by our law of Makafat, which prevails over all.
هل ينظرون إلا أن يأتيهم الله في ظلل من الغمام والملائكة وقضي الأمر وإلى الله ترجع الأمور.
210 When it is said to your adversaries that the consequences of your actions will be ruinous, they assume that the final judgment will be delivered by Allah and His Malaika appearing in glory amidst the clouds. Tell them that this is not how Allah destroys wrongdoers. The natural consequences of wrong actions take the form of destruction.
سل بني إسرائيل كم آتيناهم من آية بينة ومن يبدل نعمة الله من بعد ما جاءته فإن الله شديد العقاب.
211 This is corroborated by the history of Bani Israel. When they adhered to Allah's laws, they were prosperous, but when they repudiated them, their blessings turned into disgrace and ignominy. 14:28
زين للذين كفروا الحياة الدنيا ويسخرون من الذين آمنوا والذين اتقوا فوقهم يوم القيامة والله يرزق من يشاء بغير حساب.
212 Those persons who seek only worldly gains as their life's objective find them most alluring, and they mock at those who, seeking higher values, appear to them to be lacking in wealth and strength in the initial stages of their struggle, because they do not use foul methods to get worldly gains. But ultimately, when the divine system is established, the latter will gain superiority over the former and receive bounties much greater than their adversaries. At that time this reality also becomes clearly known to all, that the people who want to acquire wealth in accordance with the laws of Allah are bestowed wealth beyond counting. This is sheer ignorance of man, that he, in the initial stages, gets perturbed due to some hardships and adopts dishonest ways and thinks that he would achieve great success like this.
كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين وأنزل معهم الكتاب بالحق ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلفوا فيه وما اختلف فيه إلا الذين أوتوه من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات بغيا بينهم فهدى الله الذين آمنوا لما اختلفوا فيه من الحق بإذنه والله يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم.
213 Not only the history of Bani Israel but that of humanity bears witness to what has been stated above.
As mentioned in the story of Adam. 2:30 Originally mankind was a single community, free of dissension. Then human beings created mutual differences. 10:19 And since these differences could not be resolved by means of human intellect alone, Allah sent a series of Anbiya and books for this purpose. who would give them glad tidings provided they lived together as one family and warn them about the consequences of a disintegrated society and resolve the differences in accordance with the revealed book. After departure of the Anbiya who had accomplished their appointed tasks, their followers again created differences amongst themselves in their desire to outdo and outstrive each other. Those from amongst them who followed Allah's guidance were able again to resolve their mutual differences. This is how Allah, according to His laws, shows the right path to those who seek it. 2. 136, 3.
83, 3.
183, 16. 92, 57. 25.
أم حسبتم أن تدخلوا الجنة ولما يأتكم مثل الذين خلوا من قبلكم مستهم البأساء والضراء وزلزلوا حتى يقول الرسول والذين آمنوا معه متى نصر الله ألا إن نصر الله قريب.
214 O Jamaat al-Momineen, the ideal social system which will be free of dissension will not be created without great hardship and difficulty. Those who established this system earlier met with such formidable obstacles that they cried out, "When will our efforts bear fruit, O Allah?" 3. 141, 9. 16, 13. 40, 29. 2, 33. 10. You will also have to confront similar obstructions, but be sure that your efforts will be rewarded as were theirs.
يسألونك ماذا ينفقون قل ما أنفقتم من خير فللوالدين والأقربين واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل وما تفعلوا من خير فإن الله به عليم.
215 The first stage of your struggle involves financial sacrifice. O Rasul, your companions ask you as to how much money is required and where it is to be spent. Tell them that the program will be initiated within a circle of persons needing your help, e.g., your parents, other relatives, those who are left without support, those whose running business become immobilized, and wayfarers. Allah will take note of whatever you do to help them.
كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون.
216 During the next stage of your struggle, you may be asked to sacrifice even your life.
Under certain conditions, war is made obligatory upon you. It is possible that this obligation may seem burdensome to you, but you must not let your individual feelings determine what is good or bad for you. The criterion for determining what is good or bad is the value system revealed by Allah. What might appear to you to be good may be otherwise according to this criterion and vice versa. Allah alone knows what is, in reality, good or bad.
يسألونك عن الشهر الحرام قتال فيه قل قتال فيه كبير وصد عن سبيل الله وكفر به والمسجد الحرام وإخراج أهله منه أكبر عند الله والفتنة أكبر من القتل ولا يزالون يقاتلونكم حتى يردوكم عن دينكم إن استطاعوا ومن يرتدد منكم عن دينه فيمت وهو كافر فأولئك حبطت أعمالهم في الدنيا والآخرة وأولئك أصحاب النار هم فيها خالدون.
217. One of the conditions under which war is permitted is that it should not be waged during the prohibited months. But preventing people from following Allah's laws or rejecting these laws, or fighting in the sanctuary and expelling those who have sought refuge there, are more serious crimes than waging war. Your adversaries will not desist from war till they turn you away from your deen. Beware that the actions of those who do so and die in a state of kufr will be rendered waste, and they will suffer ruin in this world as well as in the hereafter. 5:54. In fact, these people are destined for the fire and will abide therein.
إن الذين آمنوا والذين هاجروا وجاهدوا في سبيل الله أولئك يرجون رحمة الله والله غفور رحيم.
218. Contrary to them, those who believe in the divine system, who undertake hijrah, and who struggle hard for the cause of Allah, are the persons who can rightfully expect Allah's blessings and receive them.
يسألونك عن الخمر والميسر قل فيهما إثم كبير ومنافع للناس وإثمهما أكبر من نفعهما ويسألونك ماذا ينفقون قل العفو كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم تتفكرون. 219. O Rasul, your companions ask you about the use of those things which benumb the human intellect, e.g. wine, etc., and about easily acquired money. These things are beneficial to some degree, but the damage they do is far in excess of the benefit. They also ask you as to how much they should spare for the help of others. Say, all that is surplus to your needs. 7:199. In this way Allah makes His laws clear to you so that you may reflect upon matters relating to this world as well as the hereafter. في الدنيا والآخرة ويسألونك عن اليتامى قل إصلاح لهم خير وإن تخالطوهم فإخوانكم والله يعلم المفسد من المصلح ولو شاء الله لأعنتكم إن الله عزيز حكيم.
220. And they also ask you about those who have been left alone, e.g., orphans. Tell them that the best thing is to set their affairs in order, and if you wish to manage them conjointly with your own kindred, bear in mind that they are your kindred, and Allah knows who are muslihin and who are mufsidin. If Allah had not given you such guidance, you would have faced difficulties. 2:185.
But beware that Allah's law of makafat has control over all things, based on wisdom.
ولا تنكحوا المشركات حتى يؤمن ولأمة مؤمنة خير من مشركة ولو أعجبتكم ولا تنكحوا المشركين حتى يؤمنوا ولعبد مؤمن خير من مشرك ولو أعجبكم أولئك يدعون إلى النار والله يدعو إلى الجنة
الجنة والمغفرة بإذنه ويبين آياته للناس لعلهم يتذكرون.
221. The ideal social system which you wish to establish should begin with your family life. Here, the fundamental question is what should be the criterion for the selection of spouse. The criterion should be unanimity of ideology and purpose.
It follows from this that a Momen man should not marry a Mushrik woman until she accepts Islam.
A Muslim woman who is a slave is better than a free Mushrik woman no matter how pleasing she is. Likewise, Muslim women should not marry Mushrik men until they accept Islam. A Muslim man who is a slave for is better than a free Mushrik man, regardless of how pleasing he is. It is evident that marriage between persons of differing ideologies makes family life a veritable hell.
On the other hand, marriage between spouses with a similar ideology creates a paradise-like family life.
Such laws of Allah bestow on you a happy home life and protect you from the various unpleasant things. You should keep this law of Allah in mind while deciding such matters.
وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ قُلْ هُوَ أَذًى فَاعْتَزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي الْمَحِيضِ وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ حَتَّى يَطْهُرْنَ فَإِذَا تَطَهَّرْنَ فَأْتُوهُنَّ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَكُمُ اللَّهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ التَّوَّابِينَ وَيُحِبُّ الْمُتَطَهِّرِينَ.
222. They ask you about sexual intercourse during menstruation. Tell them to refrain from it since during this period women are not in their normal physical condition. When this period is over, approach them in the manner suggested by Allah's natural law. If you did not act thus before, do so now. Allah's law approves of those who forsake the wrong path and adopt the right one.
نساؤكم حرث لكم فأتوا حرثكم أنى شئتم وقدموا لأنفسكم واتقوا الله واعلموا أنكم ملاقوه وبشر المؤمنين.
223. Your wives are like a land which produces a harvest. You should cohabit together when both spouses desire to do so. But keep this in mind that procreation is not the sole purpose of life. You should also see what you have sowed here is to be reaped in the hereafter according to the laws of Allah. You should keep in mind that the hereafter is a reality and glad tidings are for those who adhere to Allah's laws.
ولا تجعلوا الله عرضة لأيمانكم أن تبروا وتتقوا وتصلحوا بين الناس والله سميع عليم. لا يؤاخذكم الله باللغو في أيمانكم ولكن يؤاخذكم بما كسبت قلوبكم والله غفور حليم.
224 to 225. There are some people who, when asked to cooperate in doing virtuous things, acting rightly and the promotion of peace between men, they say that they have taken an oath not to participate in such activities. Allah holds you accountable only for the oaths taken with serious intent and not for frivolous oaths. He is forbearing and provides protection.
للذين يؤلون من نسائهم تربص 4 أشهر فإن فاءوا فإن الله غفور رحيم وإن عزموا الطلاق فإن الله سميع عليم.
226 to 227. Keeping this principle in mind, take the case of those men who vow not to go to their wives. They are given a period of 4 months for reconsideration. If within this period they choose to resume their relations, they are permitted to do so. This provision is from Allah, who is Ghafoor and Rahim. If they decide to dissolve their marriage, they should proceed in accordance with the divine law, as described in 4:35. Most certainly Allah is all-hearing, all-knowing.
والمطلقات يتربصن بأنفسهن 3 قروء ولا يحل لهن أن يكتمن ما خلق الله في أرحامهن إن كن يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر وبعولتهن أحق بردهن في ذلك إن أرادوا إصلاحا ولهن مثل الذي عليهن بالمعروف وللرجال عليهن درجة والله عزيز حكيم.
228 Divorced women should not remarry until they have completed 3 menstrual cycles.
Those who do not menstruate due to old age or some physical disorder should also wait for 3 months.
65:4. And those whose marriage has not been consummated have no waiting period. 33:49. If a woman is pregnant, she must make this fact known. The waiting period for a pregnant woman is until the delivery. 65:4. If the dissolution of marriage was initiated by the husband and he wishes, of course with the consent of his wife, to resume the marital relationship, he may do so even within the waiting period. There is no waiting period for the husband. This is the only advantage he has over the wife, who has to wait for 3 months before remarriage. The rationale for this is obvious. Accepting this, the rights and responsibilities of men and women are the same in all spheres of life. These laws have been prescribed by Allah, whose power blends with reason and wisdom.
الطلاق مرتان فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان ولا يحل لكم أن تأخذوا مما آتيتموهن شيئا إلا أن يخافا ألا يقيما حدود الله فإن خفتم ألا يقيما حدود الله فلا جناح عليهما فيما افتدت به تلك حدود الله فلا تعتدوها ومن يتعد حدود الله فأولئك هم الظالمون. فإن طلقها فلا تحل له من بعد حتى تنكح زوجا غيره فإن طلقها فلا جناح عليهما أن يتراجعا إن ظنا أن يقيما حدود الله وتلك حدود الله يبينها لقوم يعلمون.
229 to 230 Take note that when dissolution of marriage takes place for the first time, it is possible either to finalize the dissolution or resume marital relationship. According to law, if marital relationship is resumed and dissolution takes place once again, then also it is permissible either to finalize the dissolution or resume marital ties. However, if marital ties are resumed and dissolution takes place for the third time, then remarriage is not permissible. The only exception to this is as follows. If the woman marries another man and dissolution takes place, then it is permissible for her to remarry her former husband.
These are the limitations imposed by Allah's laws. Do not transgress them, and whoever does so would be held guilty in the eyes of the law.
Dissolution of a marriage is a serious matter and should not take place without due consideration or trivially. In the case of dissolution of marriage, you are not permitted to take away naught of what you have given to the wife. But if this factor becomes an impediment to dissolution of marriage, the wife may agree to forego what is hers.
These are the limitations imposed by Allah and explained clearly to those who understand and have innate knowledge.
وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَأَمْسِكُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ سَرِّحُوهُنَّ بِمَعْرُوفٍ وَلَا تُمْسِكُوهُنَّ ضِرَارًا لِتَعْتَدُوا وَمَن يَفْعَلْ ذَلِكَ فَقَدْ ظَلَمَ نَفْسَهُ وَلَا تَتَّخِذُوا آيَاتِ اللَّهِ هُزُوًا وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَمَا أَنزَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِنَ الْكِتَابِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ يَعِظُكُمْ بِهِ وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٌ.
231 When the waiting period of divorced women is nearing its end, it should be finally decided whether or not they should be retained according to the law. This decision should be announced in the presence of 2 witnesses. 65. 2. If they are retained, it should not be with the intention to cause them harm or to transgress the limits imposed by Allah. Whosoever harms them will, in fact, harm himself. You must not make a jest of the divine law. It is a blessing from Allah that He has given you this code of law and explained its underlying purposes and advises you to adhere to this code and always keep in mind the purpose behind doing so.
وَإِذَا طَلَّقْتُمُ النِّسَاءَ فَبَلَغْنَ أَجَلَهُنَّ فَلَا تَعْضُلُوهُنَّ أَن يَنكِحْنَ أَزْوَاجَهُنَّ إِذَا تَرَاضَوْا بَيْنَهُم بِالْمَعْرُوفِ ذَلِكَ يُوعَظُ بِهِ مَن كَانَ مِنكُمْ يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ ذَلِكُمْ أَزْكَى لَكُمْ وَأَطْهَرُ وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ.
232 When divorced women are nearing the end of the waiting period and both spouses desire to reunite, you should not create hindrances for them. This counsel is given to those who believe in Allah and the hereafter. If you follow it, it will lead you to decency and purity. This is the
law of Allah who knows all, whereas you do not.
والوالدات يرضعن أولادهن حولين كاملين لمن أراد أن يتم الرضاعة وعلى المولود له رزقهن وكسوتهن بالمعروف لا تكلف نفس إلا وسعها لا تضار والدة بولدها ولا مولود له بولده وعلى الوارث مثل ذلك فإن أرادا فصالا عن تراض منهما وتشاور فلا جناح عليهما وإن أردتم أن تسترضعوا أولادكم فلا جناح عليكم إذا سلمتم ما آتيتم بالمعروف واتقوا الله واعلموا أن الله بما تعملون بصير.
233 In case of dissolution of marriage, the mother should suckle the infant for a maximum period of 2 years. 46. 1531.
14.
If she does so, her maintenance becomes the responsibility of her former husband, who should provide for her according to his means. Neither the mother nor the father should be made to suffer on account of the child. In the case of the father's death, the responsibility for maintenance devolves upon his heirs. If both parents agree, the suckling period may be terminated earlier and arrangements may be made to have the child suckled by another woman. If the suckling period is terminated earlier, the full amount of maintenance promised to the woman must be given. Be mindful of the laws of Allah, who knows what you do.
والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا يتربصن بأنفسهن 4 أشهر وعشرا فإذا بلغن أجلهن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلن في أنفسهن بالمعروف والله بما تعملون خبير.
234 The waiting period for widows is 4 months and 10 days.
When this period is nearing its end, they are free to
decide what they want to do.
You are not responsible for
the decision, and Allah is well aware of whatever you do.
ولا جناح عليكم فيما عرضتم به من خطبة النساء أو أكننتم في أنفسكم علم الله أنكم ستذكرونهن ولكن لا تواعدوهن سرا إلا أن تقولوا قولا معروفا ولا تعزموا عقدة النكاح حتى يبلغ الكتاب أجله واعلموا أن الله يعلم ما في أنفسكم فاحذروه واعلموا أن الله غفور حليم.
235 During the waiting period, you cannot marry that woman, but you can consider the possibility of marriage inwardly or let them know about your wishes by suggestion. Do not, however, hold out any promise to them in private except in conventional terms, nor resolve on marriage until the period prescribed is completed. Allah knows what is in your mind. The purpose of this directive is to protect you from the harmful consequences of unrestrained behavior.
لا جناح عليكم إن طلقتم النساء ما لم تمسوهن أو تفرضوا لهن فريضة ومتعوهن على الموسع قدره وعلى المقتر قدره متاعا بالمعروف حقا على المحسنين.
236 In case dissolution of marriage takes place before it has been consummated and the dower has not yet been fixed, you should still, as an act of kindness, make some provision for the divorced woman, according to your means. 33. 49.
This, in fact, is the duty of Mozanin.
وَإِن طَلَّقْتُمُوهُنَّ مِن قَبْلِ أَن تَمَسُّوهُنَّ وَقَدْ فَرَضْتُمْ لَهُنَّ فَرِيضَةً فَنِصْفُ مَا فَرَضْتُمْ إِلَّا أَن يَعْفُونَ أَوْ يَعْفُوَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ عُقْدَةُ النِّكَاحِ وأن تعفوا أقرب للتقوى ولا تنسوا الفضل بينكم إن الله بما تعملون بصير.
237 If the marriage has not been consummated but the dower has been fixed, you must pay 1/2 of the dower in case of dissolution of marriage unless it be that they forego their claim or the party concerned who has initiated the divorce forgoes the claim. And to forego what is due to you is more near to taqwa. And forget not that you have to act with grace towards one another, surely Allah sees all what you do.
حافظوا على الصلوات والصلاة الوسطى وقوموا لله قانتين فإن خفتم فرجالا أو ركبانا فإذا أمنتم فاذكروا الله كما علمكم ما لم تكونوا تعلمون.
238 to 239 You should fulfill the responsibilities which have been prescribed above. However, this is not all. There are other responsibilities which are more crucial to the Nizam as-Salat. These responsibilities should be fulfilled according to circumstances prevailing during the state of danger or peace. Allah has given you this guidance, which you did not have before.
والذين يتوفون منكم ويذرون أزواجا وصية لأزواجهم متاعا إلى الحول غير إخراج فإن خرجن فلا جناح عليكم فيما فعلن في أنفسهن من معروف والله عزيز حكيم.
240 Reverting to family laws, men should leave a will behind, stating that their widows should be given maintenance for a year without requiring them to leave their homes.
However, if during this period, the women, of their own accord, leave their home and make a decision regarding their future life, you are not to be blamed for it. And remember that these laws are given by Allah, who is Almighty, wise.
وَلِلْمُطَلَّقَاتِ مَتَاعٌ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ حَقًّا عَلَى الْمُتَّقِينَ كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ.
241 to 242 Provisions should also be made for divorced women during the waiting period, as stated elsewhere. 231, 65. 1 to 2, 65. 6. Thus Allah makes His commandments clear to you so that you may be able to understand them. These rules constitute the limitations imposed by Allah. It will be the responsibility of the Quranic order to devise the working details thereof.
أَلَمْ تَرَ إِلَى الَّذِينَ خَرَجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ وَهُمْ أُلُوفٌ حَذَرَ الْمَوْتِ فَقَالَ لَهُمُ اللَّهُ مُوتُوا ثُمَّ أَحْيَاهُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَذُو فَضْلٍ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَلَكِنَّ أَكْثَرَ النَّاسِ لَا يَشْكُرُونَ.
243 It was mentioned earlier. 216 to 218. That you will have to confront mighty forces which stand in the way of the establishment of the divine order. To confront external problems successfully, it is necessary that domestic conditions should be conducive to peace. For this reason, rules relating to the organization of family life were given. 221 to 242. Now let us return to the original subject. Have you pondered the case of those who, though many thousands in number, left their homes and ran away when they were confronted by the enemy? Because they were afraid of death, so they were overtaken by it. This happened because they forgot what the secret of life is. Only he lives who is not afraid of death. 294. And one who runs away from death is overtaken by it. When they understood this secret and provided the evidence by confronting the enemy, they were infused with new life. This is the basic law according to which superiority is given to some people, but most of them do not appreciate and do not feel grateful.
وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ.
244. Therefore, O Jamaat al-Mu'minin, you should fight in the cause of Allah and know that He hears whatever you say to one another and knows fully well what you do.
من ذا الذي يقرض الله قرضا حسنا فيضاعفه له أضعافا كثيرة والله يقبض ويبسط وإليه ترجعون.
245. For the consolidation of your order, finances will also be needed. Whatever you give for this purpose will come back to you with manifold returns. Mind it. Give and take should always be according to Allah's laws, towards which you should always look.
ألم تر إلى الملأ من بني إسرائيل من بعد موسى إذ قالوا لنبي له مبعث لنا ملكا نقاتل في سبيل الله قال هل عسيتم إن كتب عليكم القتال ألا تقاتلوا قالوا وما لنا ألا نقاتل في سبيل الله وقد أخرجنا من ديارنا وأبنائنا فلما كتب عليهم القتال تولوا إلا قليلا منهم والله عليم بالظالمين.
246. You should recall that event in the history of Bani Israel when their leaders asked their Nabi after Moses to appoint a commander so that they would fight under his command in the cause of Allah. The Nabi asked him to reconsider their offer seriously lest they desist from war once the orders for it had been given. They said, what ails us that we should not fight when we have been expelled from our homes and torn apart from our children? However, what the Nabi had apprehended came to pass when they were ordered to fight. Except a few, they turned back. Allah knows well about those who act like this.
وقال لهم نبيهم إن الله قد بعث لكم طالوت ملكا قالوا أنى يكون له الملك علينا ونحن أحق بالملك منه ولم يؤت سعة من المال قال إن الله اصطفاه عليكم وزاده بسطة في العلم والجسم والله يؤتي ملكه من يشاء والله واسع عليم. وقال لهم نبيهم إن آية ملكه أن يأتيكم التابوت فيه سكينة من ربكم وبقية مما ترك آل موسى وآل هارون تحمله الملائكة إن في ذلك لآية لكم إن كنتم مؤمنين.
247 to 248. Anyhow, they repeated their request for a commander and their Nabi told them that Allah had appointed Saul as their commander. They immediately responded by saying, how can a man like Saul be our commander? We are more deserving than he.
He is a poor man.
The Nabi said, wealth is not the criterion for appointing a commander. Saul possesses more knowledge and physical prowess than the others.
This is the law of Allah according to which he selects one for a position of authority, and this law is based on his infinite knowledge and not according to your self-made standards. The Nabi continued,
since Saul will use his powers in accordance with Allah's laws, the immediate result of his leadership will be that your hearts will be rid of the fear of the enemy and you will become tranquil and contented. Secondly, he will recover the relics left by the descendants of Moses and Aaron from their capture and restore them to you. All this should furnish ample proof that Saul's selection is indeed the right one.
فلما فصل طالوت بالجنود قال إن الله مبتليكم بنهر فمن شرب منه فليس مني ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني إلا من اغترف غرفة بيده فشربوا منه إلا قليلا منهم فلما جاوزه هو والذين آمنوا معه قالوا لا طاقة لنا اليوم بجالوت وجنوده قال الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو الله كم من فئة قليلة غلبت فئة كثيرة بإذن الله والله مع الصابرين.
249 When Saul marched forward with his forces, he told them,
do not drink the water from the stream which comes in the way except to moisten your lips and throat. This is a test to see who is worthy of remaining with us and who is not. Yet barring a few, all drank out of it. When they crossed the stream and confronted the enemy, they told Saul that they had no strength to fight the army of Goliath.
Now those who were firm in their belief said to them,
do not be afraid of the enemy's numbers. How often has a small host prevailed over a larger adversary? What matters is who follows Allah's laws and remains steadfast.
ولما برزوا لجالوت وجنوده قالوا ربنا أفرغ علينا صبرا وثبت أقدامنا وانصرنا على القوم الكافرين.
250 When they confronted the forces of Goliath, they prayed to Allah, O our sustainer, invest us with due steadfastness and firmness and give us victory over those people who defy your laws.